When we think of nation development, we typically think of it as the government's job alone. According to me, that is wrong. In my view, nation development is everyone's job, be it a marketer, a media person, a banker, or bureaucrat. It is not the responsibility of only the government. As a media executive for more than 3 decades now, I have been fortunate enough to work in an industry that is often called the fourth estate. For good reason, because media has a very important role to play in shaping the national discourse and hence the nation itself. Media can be a force for good or force for destruction. For example, deliberate orchestration of misinformation and rumors on social media often causes real societal problem. That is why it is important that credible mainstream media like the network I have the privilege of leading, or the network which is our host today, we do our job well. Now when we step back a bit and consider this not just from a national perspective, but from an international perspective as well, then the importance of responsible narrative becomes even more significant. For decades now, we have allowed others to tell our story. And because we are nice, which is often misconstrued as being weak or meek, we allowed those stories to be scripted from their perspective with their agenda in mind. It's time we took control of the India narrative. There is no one better placed to tell our stories than us. It's time we stop just being nice. By that, I don't mean that we need to be rude, but we do need to be rightfully assertive. We don't need to create fiction, but we do need to tell the world all that is right. It has to be our story told by us as faithfully and as passionately as possible. Especially now that a new India is rising under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji. Yes, India is rising, but how high it rises is entirely in our hands. And hence, we must not forget that we have work to do to strengthen our foundation. Only then we will be able to capitalize on our demographic dividend. We have to mobilize 1.4 billion people as one unified force. And as I mentioned, it is not the job of the government alone, but each one of us will have to play a part in that movement. Of course, there are challenges in reaching the last mile. Over the past decade, 14 crore people have been brought out of the poverty while India is ascending to become the third largest economy in the world. But financial inclusion and job creation are still work in progress. In fact, I have always been vocal about the importance of converting job seekers into job providers, and to my mind, that is a panacea for Indian economy. In this context, media, especially regional media, is already playing a vital role, but we do need to do much more. And I'm absolutely delighted to speak at this conclave, which couldn't have picked a more appropriate theme for me, reaching the last mile, developing the rest of India. When every Indian is aware and convinced of the new India story, when every Indian is willing and equipped to put a shoulder to the wheel, to my mind, that is when the nation will truly develop. And as a firm belief, I often like to say that if it is to be, it is up to me. So in that sense, the last mile is also our final frontier. Thank you very much. Namaskar.